If I had to grow an app from scratch in 2026, I'd do this. We've helped apps generate millions of downloads using a content system that most founders and most teams have never ever seen. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break down every step I take if I had to build that engine from scratch today. So if you're a founder trying to scale an app in 2026, but you're still bleeding money on paid ads, pay close attention. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what drives downloads and what to avoid so you don't risk wasting your time on something that is not working. So let's get started. The very first thing we need to do is completely understand our audience and all of their pains and desires. Because today, whether it's organic or paid, the one thing you absolutely have to get right is clarity. And there's something nobody tells you when you launch an app, which is basically you can have the best product in the market, you can have the best UI, a lot of value, great reviews, and you can still die a quiet death. And if you're an established product, you can just become irrelevant because nobody outside of your network ever understood what it actually does. And you cannot speak to the new generation. And that's exactly why the very first thing I do before I hire a single creator or influencer is make sure that a viewer can understand the problem within the first second. But before you build a single hook, you need to research your audience so that the second someone watches your content, it actually connects with them immediately. To research target audience, there's a number of things you can do. The first thing is look at the Reddit threads, App Store reviews, comment sections on TikTok and videos in your niche, Discord communities, and figure out exactly who the audience is and how they already talk about the problem that the app solves. And you're looking for things that reveal pain that they're going through, problems that they can't solve, things that they wish they could accomplish, things that they believe in, so belief phrases. And then you would take all of this and all this would actually then be implemented in order to create the best hooks possible. Obviously, there's templates and frameworks to create good hooks, but if you don't know these things, none of it will even resonate. So you need to nail these so that you're ready to actually build a machine that produces content at scale. Now, the second step I would do is I would build a creator team. So I would forget about influencers, and this is the mistake I see a lot of recently funded founders make more than any other. It almost always costs them 6 figures before they even realize they made a mistake. So they go out and they try to buy reach by finding influencers with big followings. They pay for a shout out. Typically they get like a spike in downloads that lasts like 24 or 48 hours. So what's the reality behind the influencer kind of scene today? It's not that it doesn't work, but it's that essentially if you pay an influencer, you're renting the access to their audience, right? And you typically pay for one post or one shout out, and the audience is theirs. It's not yours. And so the moment that that post fades or it becomes irrelevant, so does everything that came with it. And the other problem is that similar to creators, it's very hard to find influencers that you can actually rely on. And when you find them, they're gems. They're amazing to work with. But it is very hard, and you typically have to spend thousands per post to even know who the ones that are worth it are. That's a very expensive test. Instead, what I would do is I would build a creator team. So I would get a group of people that would produce daily content on pages that we would create specifically for this. The reach that gets built would be yours. The data that you gather is also yours. You can check everything at any given time, and the winning formats you discover are yours to scale. Now, can this happen with influencers? It can, but regardless of you doing this with influencers or just normal people as creators, you need volume to be able to find winners, winner ads, winner formats, and it'll cost you so much more to get that volume with influencers than to get it with creators that, it just doesn't make sense. So what are you looking for when you're hiring creators? You're looking for people who are comfortable on camera, so they don't stiffen up. When you watch their videos, it feels like a peer sharing like a discovery, for example. You're looking for reliability, so people who are professional, who show up, who deliver things on time. Coachability, so when you give them briefs or when you give them things to follow, they follow it and they ask smart questions. And you're looking for people that are within the demographic of your target users. Let's move on to the next step I would take to grow my app from zero. I would use TikTok as my lab. So once the creator team is running, the temptation is to spread everything everywhere at once, right? TikTok, Reels, Shorts, all at the same time. But instead, I wouldn't do that. What I would do is I would pick one controlled environment to run my tests, find what wins, and then take that winner everywhere else. So the first thing is you can post to multiple platforms, that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is I would focus heavily on testing everything organically before scaling with paid ads. And TikTok's the best place to do that. So if you're starting with one platform only, right away, that's where I'd be running the experiments. And then obviously with every video, you can just change a variable at a time. And obviously you need failure. Failure is required for this system to work. So you need volume. Volume will be useful if you're looking at data and understanding what works and why. And you need to mentally detach from wanting things to go viral fast. Just forget about it. What you're looking looking for is data. What are winners? What are not winners? And now that we're testing videos one at a time, next thing I would do is I would look at the data, like I said, and not just the views, but the full picture. So views alone are bad at telling you everything you need to know about what's working, what needs to improve. So what I would do is I would just go in the back end of a video, look at the watch time. Every time there's a bit of a spike in views, I would see if that results in any sort of increase in my downloads. And once the answer is yes, and I have a video that's consistently, or a format that's consistently hitting above 5K or 10K views, then I would scale that and just focus on that video across the whole creator team. This would be the formula to getting your first video with real traction, like 100,000 views, a few 100,000 views. But now you need to do something that most brands, most people just don't do with their content, which is multiplying it. So you need to scale the winners across platforms and across channels. Channels meaning taking it into paid ads as well. So what everyone else does when they find a piece of content that blows up is they celebrate it, they screenshot it, they put it on socials, and they move on, right? But even if your video gets 1 million views, that's just a start. That is the start of your system, right? So you need to basically take that, you need to make that an example for all of the other creators, for the creator who just produced that. You need to make sure that all of them are now doubling down, creating more of that. And then you need to take that specific video and take it to ads and scale it with paid ads. And what I would do is I would just scale that with, for example, in-feed ads first, and then take it to Meta and scale it up with conversion campaigns like installs or signups, whatever the metric is. And like I said, when a format crosses 10,000, even 10,000 views consistently, and it's producing high intent comments, for example, or visible lifts and downloads, that's a signal. You cannot ignore that signal. You need to take that and scale that across everyone in your team, or else you're just going to miss out on everything. So the millions of views, the thousands of downloads, and even more data that will tell you exactly what your audience responds to. So being able to double down and scale winners is the key breakthrough you've been waiting for from the start. And as soon as you know how to clone it, how to scale it, that's where your app can go from, just starting out to millions of downloads. Again, take my words for it because we've done it multiple times. Just a quick note on how to scale these formats. You just create variations of them so you can isolate which things are working the best. So typically, if a video goes viral, the hook's already validated. So you then just create variations of how the story goes, what people are doing visually throughout the video, how the demo of the product goes, so how they're showing the app, what's happening throughout all those screens, and you test which ones have the biggest impact. It's a much cheaper test than just doing all of this, but only running paid behind it, because you're essentially, TikTok is serving as a research lab. You're seeing what works before you scale on paid on organic, right? So that's what I would do. And once you have the variations confirmed, then you scale that. Volume will only be useful after you have the system kind of set. It's not the only variant. So looking at data and all that's very important. That's exactly what I would do to grow an app from scratch in 2026. Now, if you want to implement this with us directly, the link in the description is where you need to go. We've used this exact method to generate billions of views and millions of downloads for apps. So the results kind of speak for themselves there. So if you want, click the link, book a call, and let's get to work. Thank you for watching.